Welcome all you party people all around the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Josh. And with Levi's, while the 501 and the 505 seem to get all the love these days, there is a jean that has somewhat quietly been under the radar but been nearly as popular and remains so today. They also solved a really important problem with this jean. What jean is that? The 517 bootcut. Let's get into it. As with many changes and sparks of creativity with Levi's, 1969 was ne'er rivaled. And it also happens to be the year in which the 517 bootcut jean was first manufactured. Now the 517 is slim through the thighs but widens out from the knee down to the ankle. And this solved a very important issue for boot wearers. Namely that the 501 or the 505 or the many other different straight leg jeans would bunch up and not fit around the neck of your boot. The 517 solved this by widening out or flaring, and it was taken further by many of the young people and the hippie culture, and that flare began to get bigger and bigger and bigger and eventually became what we know as bell bottoms. Now the 517 was first released under the orange tab line and was released as a stay pressed fabric, like a polyester type fabric, that was marketed that you did not need to iron it, that it was always going to stay straight and not get creases. And I can actually say, holding some in my hand right now, that's pretty much true. You can like fold these things all over the place and and do all kinds of things to them, and they don't ever seem to get wrinkles. Now the 517 would go on to be made in all kinds of materials, denim and corduroy and all different other kinds, but of course the denim version was probably the most popular. Now because these jeans were produced in 1969, there was about 3 more years of the Big E era, meaning that the tab right here on the back would have a capital E instead of a lowercase e. These, unfortunately, are lowercase. The Big E orange tab era obviously was very short, only 3 years long. So any jeans produced in that time period under the orange tab would likely have the capital E, which means they are exceedingly rare. I've never seen one in real life myself. I would love to find it, but I have yet to do so. This particular pair of 517 orange tabs are from the mid to early 80s. All my 1970s era 517s have recently been purchased, which might mean the bootcut is back in style. Now the 517 would be produced in an orange tab version and a red tab version. The red tab version was added a few years later. I don't believe there are any red tab 517s from the 70s. I believe it was added in the 80s. I could be wrong, but as far as I can tell, the best information I have is that the 80s are when we first started seeing red tab 517s. And because there are 517s in the red tab and orange tab, the general markers for each type of collection do apply. And you can find out more about those differences in the eye above. Now bootcut and other flared jeans all remained popular through the 1970s. And in the 80s took a break as skin tight jeans became all the rage, and then baggy pants in the early 90s. But then in the late 90s and early 2000s, bootcut jeans came back. People like Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jennifer Gardner, all the Jennifers started wearing bootcut jeans. Maybe that was a requirement, I don't know. But the point is that bootcut did come back. And then they were replaced again with pencil skinny type jeans. And that's sort of the trend that still remains. But I would be willing to bet that within a few years, you might start seeing flared and bootcut jeans popular once again. Like I said, I did just sell a bunch of them, so maybe that is the beginning of the wave. Now, while the 517 may have waned in terms of cultural popularity, the bootcut jean became vitally important, especially to Western customers. People who wore boots a lot still wear bootcuts consistently, and that never really changed. So the 517 has remained a very popular product for Levi's and for any other company that produces bootcut jeans. Now in terms of identifying 517s, obviously you can look there at the lot number on the back tag. But it doesn't always have a back tag, especially with orange tab jeans from the 70s. Here's a pair of Big Bells. You can see how flared they are. And you'll notice there's no back patch. It is orange tab, and these are clearly from the 70s, but no back patch. So what to do in that case? What you can do if there's no back patch on the back of the jean, you can go to the internal care tag. There you'll find oftentimes a 5-digit number, something like 20, and then it'll give you your lot number, whether it's a 501 or a 505 or a 517. The same can be said of 517s outside of the window of the 1970s. Here's a short-lived tag from the 80s, and it says 517, 517. The other numbers have lots of different meanings, and we'll talk about some of that stuff in the future, but suffice it to say, that is a pretty easy way to identify whether or not your jeans or pants or corduroys are 517 model. Now again, if you have no back patch, no internal care tag, you may not be able to directly confirm that they are 517s, but you can look at the silhouette and you can look and say, all right, is it a little bit slimmer through the thighs, and does it seem to flare out a little bit after the knee? Try putting them on if you can fit them, and that'll give you a pretty good idea. There are other 517-like models in Levi's, the 518, the 527, I believe is a boot cut. But those are all a little bit more modern cuts of the boot cut, so I really wouldn't be concerned too much with that particular model. And that about wraps it up for the 517 for now. If you have questions about your pairs of jeans that you need help identifying, leave a comment in the comment section below. We will see if we can get some details from you. We even have an email that you can email us some pictures, and we can go back and forth and hopefully help you figure out your pair of jeans. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you are new. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.